Okay, shifting gears back into Charlie Skelton. Here are the headlines. We've got one by Paul Joseph Watson today. This is being reported by the major French news at a press conference. He snuck into Spain, got caught there, and now admits that eugenicist Bill Gates to attend 2010 Bilderberg conference. But the really big news, because it shows how scared they are internally, and it shows, this mirrors what Zbigniew Brzezinski said 3 weeks ago in Canada when he said, for the first time, the whole world is awake to world government, and not just our puppet politicians, but the actual power structure. We're in trouble. People said, well, he's playing possum. No, he's not playing possum. And so Bilderberg see people with income as threat to their agenda. This was filed in part 2 of his London Guardian report, Bilderberg 2010, the security lockdown, Charlie Skelton. And he joins us. He can now tell us the day he was kicked out Wednesday before it started, always key intel, what security people did to him and his wife, what he overheard them saying, and then he can tell us what happened yesterday and today. Charlie Skelton, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hello, lovely to be back.
Good to have you. So you've got the floor. You can now, since you filed your reports, tell us, because, you know, it's good to give them the scoop first. They paid to send you there. You work for them. Tell us the incredible, what you witnessed inside, sneaking about, spying on them, and before they kicked you out, and then what's happened since then.
Yeah, well, first of all, to talk about what you mentioned, we sat ourselves at dinner next. This is a couple of days before in fact, the night before lockdown. So, whatever night that would have been, Tuesday night, we sat next to some of the conference organisers, because what people have to remember is that this is, apart from anything else, it's a big conference. So there's a large team of extremely well-oiled conference organisers who run the whole show every year, at least the core team members do. And they were having their dinner, and so we sat ourselves down nice and innocently next to their table, and we just sat and pretended to have a conversation all night whilst listening. So, yeah, we did a little bit of earwigging. And one of the things that we heard that was most astonishing was the discussion that took place about you and about your presence at Bilderberg with your bullhorn. And they started saying, they said, you've seen the videos from that year. This is a quote. You've seen the videos from that year. They were very close to the hotel. And the person looked in absolute terror and said, but did they ever try to attack? And the person looked back equally fearful and said, no, but it was scary. It was very scary. There was a demonstration at the walls, and, did they ever try to attack? And they were asking this absolutely seriously. And they were having this discussion. And, I'm here now I'm here with people, and the people who are standing here at the roundabout, much as you did before. And, they're saying they're saying their slogans and they're holding their banners, and there's a little bit of anger towards the people up the hill, but generally speaking, there's a lot of love towards humanity, and there's a lot of concern and anxiety. And what there isn't is there's no great attack going on. The only attack is there's an attack upon the ideas that are being talked about upstairs. The only attack is upon their strategies. But they, honestly, these people were sitting there and they had fear in their eyes, and it was quite extraordinary. So, I don't quite, they've completely misunderstood at one level. I suppose in one level they've got it right, but they've completely misunderstood what kind of people are outside. They have demonized the concerned, interested citizen who is standing out here, who has travelled to whatever part of the world Bilderberg happens to be in, and is holding their flag and is chanting their chant. And they see these people as the enemy. And what they don't understand is that these people who are standing out here chanting, they are the true friends of humanity.
Well, that's the point you make in your well-written article. And I want to remind listeners, we contacted you last year, hearing that the Guardian was going to send a reporter. There was a big announcement and the paper was promoting it. We contacted you, and you're like, oh, I kind of thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And they were sending a reporter who they thought would really be balanced, because you thought it was a joke. And then once you got there and they harassed you and arrested you, and now you've had this conversion of realizing. But you have some quotes here in your article. He says, it says, although why attending Bilderberg has to remain such a mystery remains a mystery. The blackened windows of the limousines, the desperate camera dodging of the delegates, the paranoia was riding high amongst the conference organizers. A pair of them talked about 2006 Bilderberg conference. in Ottawa, where the radio host Alex Jones led the protest with his megaphone. They were very close to the hotel. You're quoted as them saying, said one. Another looked shocked and said, did they ever try to attack? A shake of the head, and the answer, no, but it was very scary. A third leaned in. This is the negative side of the welfare state. People have enough income so they can do this. It's like a permanent threat. And see, from what I've read by the phony environmentalist and the globalist, they want to shut the economy down, only allow authorized, permitted travel for government-approved reasons. They want a local environmental boss that controls every facet of your life. It has nothing to do with environment. It's prison. And they say they want a post-industrial world to control us so that we literally only live and work in one town and maybe get to travel once in our lives. This is the policy. So what you heard was a major window into the mindset, and they see us as the enemy because they have a predatory view on us, and so they subconsciously expect us to hate them and dislike them. And finishing up your eloquent writing here, you went on to make the point that no, this is humanity upset about being slaves, upset about being looted, upset about their elected leaders meeting in secret with the big owners. In fact, you said, what threat? The people concerned about this unfairness of the world should drape a banner over a police cordon, that they should shout their anger at the madness of asset-grabbing transnational corporations whose chairmen are sipping beers with our elected officials. It's like a permanent threat. Don't make me spit. And then it talks about them basically harassing you and your wife. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear about who was saying this. The person that was, this conversation was being had by kind of people on the inner core of the Bilderberg conference organization. So they're the Bilderberg group people. They're the sort of people in charge of Bilderberg. They're not the people at Bilderberg who are the participants, but they're very close to the ideology of Bilderberg.
This is top minions.
Yeah, top minions, yeah. And you can actually identify which level the minions are at by their lanyard colours. Someone's pointed out that the delegates have got white lanyards, and I think that the aides have got yellow lanyards, and the security's red, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think the sort of logistic conference organisers have got green lanyards. So it's a very well-run event, and it's a very big event. And my God, the people are starting to talk about the cost of this. And a very interesting quote came out today, which is that it's simply to have, there's all kinds of different police here. There's secret police, there's state police, there's riot police, there's also local police. There's the Mossos de Squadra, which is the local Catalonian police, I think. And a quote has come out today that just to have them, I mean, they're just the very lowest, of the police forces around. Just to have them is 150,000 euros per day. So the big question is, who's picking up that tab? Is it the Spanish taxpayer? And if so, that's a disgrace. And if the Bilderberg conference is reimbursing the Spanish taxpayer, then basically they're using the local police as a private army. So either way, it's grotesquely unethical.
And again, up until the last few years, almost no mainstream media coverage, or zero, going back a decade and before. So they are not happy. What do you make of the TV and radio, as well as multiple newspapers in Germany and Spain, reporting that Bill Gates flew into a fake conference? When the media showed up, it wasn't real, and he admitted, I'm really here for Bilderberg. I mean, they even put on a fake medical conference just for him to have a cover. This is incredible.
That is quite extraordinary. And, it's not just incredible. It's absolutely pathetic. I mean, that really is sad, isn't it? I mean, I find this whole, zooming up the hill behind tinted windows and swooping into the underground garage and distractions. And do you remember when President Obama shook off his, shook off the whole, he wasn't president then. But
he was candidate Obama.
Candidate Obama. Yeah, and he shook off the whole press corps, and Axelrod is standing on the plane going, I'm sorry, he's got to go attend some meetings, and the press are going,
but we were there. The Secret Service drove in with 3 black vehicles, and they had submachine guns and pointed them at us. And we have just a blur of the video, but we paused it. It's online. You can see the submachine gun, and those guys are just like out of a movie, just red, because, Hillary and him, and they're just candidates, and I'm out there going, the real leader in there, and then here comes the two presidential candidates, and then we announced he was there, that it had gone to Hillary from Tucker sources, and boom, Hillary stood down. Again, they're picking our president, and I, as a citizen, get a machine gun pointed at me, but that's not scary. My bullhorn is scary.
And they're scared. Yeah, no, they're scared, and, they should be scared, because you look at the difference between Greece last year and Spain this year, and the big difference. Physically it looks very similar. It's exactly the same kind of setup. It's a high-security hotel up a hill, and police, Mediterranean police surrounding it in vast numbers, and apparently it's been confirmed that there's military divers off the coast in a boat. The whole thing is very much like last year, when the Greek Navy intercepted a couple of bloggers and photographers, and but what's different is that the media are starting to talk about it, and Alex, you've done an amazing job, because I think people are starting to hear, and you've been shouting on that bullhorn for quite long enough.